first to just grow on me more and more. The little piano thing.
Right.
And then I want to. Yeah, every time.
I'm telling you, bro.
Just chop, 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 chop. You know what I'm saying? Every time, man.
Like Shinkurt and Karya.
Yeah. Make me want to cry on the track.
Yeah. Your tip? I can't do much.
Yeah, right? Can't forget
Yo, what it do, cousins? It's your boy, Benny Hunnits. As always, I'm with my brother, The Funk is Real.
Gang.
Gang, gang. Welcome to the village. We have got another special episode in the mix for Black History Month. This might cap off the month. We may have one more to cap off the month, but we staying with the theme of blackness and black themes and blackity black.
All black everything, baby. That's what we do.
That's it, man. You know what? We're gonna get right into it because Black History Month. We suffered this since our last conversation.
Yeah, because as we pop off this Bunna time, we gotta
sip on some Boon.
I'm not even gonna sip. We're gonna pour it out because this first topic, it might have been the end of Black History Month. I know everybody know what we talking about. If you didn't catch it, our man Deontay Wilder, also known as the Bronze Bomber, he's one of the heavyweight boxers of the world.
He was the champion.
Or champion, I should say.
Yeah.
Former now.
Fuck.
We had his rematch against the big sack of potato English man named Tyson Fury.
Man.
Who's an excellent skilled boxer.
Excellent boxer, yeah.
Not taking nothing away from him.
Yeah. He's awesome. And he was the there's a fucking phrase for it, but basically undefeated champion.
Also.
Yeah. He was the champion before, and he had to give up his belt because he went on some sort of crazy binge. Yeah. The guy who he beat to get the championship ended up retaining it. Deontay Wilder beat him. He became the champion and blah, 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 blah. So now, per his words, the king has returned.
Facts, he did.
And he beat the shit out of Deontay Wilder, to be honest.
And this was a rematch. For people who, if you saw the first fight, it was a great fight. It went the distance.
It went the distance, but honestly, Tyson Fury was giving him them hoes all fight. But the Bronze Bomber landed two big ass bombs that dropped him, and he ended up getting the decision. No, was it a draw?
It was a draw.
It was a draw. Yeah. So
they did the draw.
Yeah, those two 10-8 rounds. For people who don't know how boxing is scored, essentially the judges have to pick who wins, and whoever wins the round gets a 10. Whoever loses the round gets a 9. But if you get knocked down, then you get an 8 or you lose a point. If the ref says you lose a point, then you lose a point. So it's usually 10-9, but the scores can fluctuate. And then at the end, they just tally up the score, and whoever has the most wins, right? So I guess Deontay Wilder was able to catch up towards the end of that fight by knocking him down a couple times and got a draw. Plus, he was the champion, so usually if you got to knock out the champion or really beat the champion to take over,
gives you the edge.
Yeah. And so he even the craziest thing about this is Tyson Fury called how he was gonna do this fight the whole time. He said, you know what, I can't. He tried to just outbox him, right? Which obviously he could do because he's a way better boxer. Deontay Wilder just got the power.
He's a fighter.
Yeah,
there's a difference between a boxer and a fighter.
Big facts.
A boxer is skilled, knows how to work his opponent, knows how to use his body, his skill to an advantage, his legs,
everything. Yeah.
Whereas Deontay, he's just coming with the haymakers. He gets you one good punch, and it's a wrap. Because them suckers is coming in like missiles.
Yeah. And in this case, it was actually early in the fight, the second round.
Shit, probably the first round, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, the first round, you can kind of tell that he was on his ass because he pulled a Muhammad Ali. I don't know if you noticed at the very start of the fight, he ran out to the middle of the ring. And that's what I was getting at is he called early. He was saying, I'm not going to fight him the same way I fought him. I'm going to
Very offensive.
I'm going to be on his ass. I'm going to make him back down. I'm not walking backwards at all. And to his credit, he came out, he did that shit. By the second round, he hit him with a big one, and arguably where the punch was placed was like on the back half of his head, so they're gonna use that as like some reasoning to try to get a rematch. But he punches him dead in his fucking ear, blows out his eardrum. You could just see it because he starts gushing with blood,
leaking.
Yeah, and if anybody knows about the anatomy, like your ears are the biggest contributors to your balance. Once your ears go, that's why people who have like eardrum problems or whatever. What is it, vitiligo, which could come from like ear infections, but then you have balance issues. You can't stand up still. So if you notice, the whole rest of the fight, he's like hanging onto the ropes.
Oh, like, I don't think it's vitiligo. Ain't vitiligo the skin thing?
No, vertigo. Sorry,
vertigo.
Yeah, not vitiligo. Sorry, vertigo. Yeah,
vitiligo's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's that reverse melanin.
Yeah, that's that Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah.
He got the reverse.
I got that reverse vitiligo. I used to be white in my day. But no, so he had that, he busted his shit. And for the rest of the fight, I mean, the fact that he made it 7 rounds is even like it's a testament to his character. And then he didn't get knocked down. It was that
he did get knocked down.
No, he got knocked down. Excuse me. He didn't
Twice,
didn't get knocked out. It was that his team threw in the towel because they
TKO.
knew. Yeah, it was like they knew that
those legs were out by the second.
Oh yeah, it was over.
Or third.
It was over. It was over. Like you knew it was over, but the question was how was it gonna end? His team threw in the towel. I mean, his ear was gushing with blood throughout basically the whole fight. You could see his face. He got rocked, man. So, that was probably one of the biggest disappointments in Black History Month, man.
And the fact is, and he came in with the whole Wakanda thing. So, and he has these outlandish outfits.
Yeah.
He wears the mask and it's a dope fit.
Yeah. 40 bands is what they say.
40 bands, right?
It costs $40,000.
And it weighed like 45 pounds.
Yeah.
And apparently he got chicken legs because he said, this is what he said. His excuse was his legs were tired prior to going in. He knew immediately once he took them weights off and he was in there, he's like, oh man, he could just feel that he wasn't going to have the stability that he was going to need to continue, to fight.
And so goddamn much.
The fact is how you going to blame this outfit? You came out, and then you had my man D Smoke coming out.
I was about to say, shout out D Smoke, man, with the Black Magic as the intro song.
It was all black. It was powerful.
Everything black.
You know what I mean? We thinking like, oh yeah, he about to do it. Because if there's one thing with boxing, it's always kind of had like a racial divide. You always rooting for the person that looks like you, essentially.
Yeah. So it was always some sort of patriotism, whether it was national patriotism or your own ethnicity, whatever the case may be. Yeah.
So it's always you just go with what represents you.
Yeah, and now England runs the heavyweight division because it's him and what's the other brother's name?
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua, who has all the other belts.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 other belts.
Who got knocked out by the fat Mexican dude.
Damn. But he's still the heavyweight champion, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
He won. He beat. I forgot who he beat, but he got his title back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he black. He not Black American, but he black.
He Nigerian.
Anthony Joshua? Yeah, Nigerian.
Nigerian
via England. Yeah. So he's got the other 3 belts, but arguably Tyson Fury is the higher champion just because he has the. I can't remember the title, but there's a title.
There's several of them.
For being undefeated. It's like whatever. My point is
undisputed.
No, it's not undisputed. If it was undisputed, he would have all the belts. He'd be unified. Yeah. But anyway, so we suffered a loss there, and I mean, I kind of want a rematch, but at the same time, like, the only way it's going to work, in my opinion, is if Deontay Wilder just decides to learn how to be a fucking boxer.
My man didn't know how to, like, keep your hands up. My man never, like, he was just getting tagged by jabs.
Oh, even at the end, that last rally that got the towel thrown in, it was like he didn't
Caught
even
him in the corner.
Bro, you seen him like what's his name? Fury had to put him up. Like his arms were rotating and then bing, 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 bing. He just started tagging him. Yeah, and then the people were like, yo.
Honestly, the fight should have probably ended a few rounds ago.
Yeah.
But he wanted to go out a Warrior's way and just he'd rather die.
That nigga was trying to die in the ring. You got me fucked up.
Yeah. Bro. But then, my thing is when you're in a fight, even if you're getting your ass whooped, you're so discombobulated. Yeah. And so much is going on. You're not even thinking about your well-being. You're just more so, what do you mean? What do you mean you're stopping the fight? No, I got this.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't even know where you at right now, big dog.
They saved your fucking life, bro.
You saw his ear.
his whole jawline, you could see like his whole shit was bulging, bro.
Oh, he felt it the next day.
Big facts,
sure.
bro. He didn't leave that arena for hours. They were examining him, and then he couldn't even do the press conference. They had to take him to the hospital.
Well, hell no, he need to get. They should have pulled up the ambulance right by the ring.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. Oh, by the ring.
By the ring. Excuse
Did that
me.
shit like
Start clearing out
like
seats.
WWE style.
Like WWE style. We just pulled up. Get your big goofy ass in here, dog. You done let all the black people in here down. Oh my God. I was so mad because I was talking hot shit before the fight.
Yeah.
I said, dog, he about to whoop that boy. Dog, what you mean? He getting his revenge. He about to show out. He about to represent for the brothers and sisters out here.
Yeah.
Wakanda forever. My man came out with the
Black magic. Black excellence.
his ass turned to Black history real quick.
Nah, that nigga was history for sure. And then you seen that picture? It's like a meme. It's like this shit's gonna be hanging in every white.
Oh my God.
And he just sitting there like on the ground after getting laid out. Dude standing over him. Fuck.
Bruh, there's nothing worse than that. And then my man sang that song or whatever, Bye Bye Miss American Pie at the end.
Bye, Miss American Pie. And he's not American. That's
Bruh.
the cool part. He was waving his ass goodbye. Thinking this gonna be the day that I die. Acapella. He
Bruh.
crushed that hoe.
It's the fact that you done got your ass whooped, and then my man came out there and started singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie. I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, but what could he do? Barely, motherfucker could barely stand up, bro.
I'd wobble his ass back. Hey, man.
Don't be singing that shit now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah, so that was bad. That was an L, and yeah. So of course we've got on a not as jokingly matter, more L's in the black community. Pop Smoke got murdered in his own crib.
man, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, young Pop Smoke. Dude was only 20 years old. 20 years old. And they ran up in his crib. Apparently some home invasion after a party. Apparently this is a big thing going on in LA now.
What did we see? It was up 54% this year, apparently, they say.
Yeah, it's like there's like a whole unit of robbers now that are specifically and tactfully going after wealthy, well-known people. And of course, being a rapper and having your lifestyle put out there all the way makes you an easy target.
Easy.
And so they ran up in his shit, and
Especially if you're not in your own city.
what? Yeah.
He was in LA for folks who aren't familiar with the story, and he's from New York.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, and there's all this other stuff, like of course his address being shown on social media through his brother and his Instagram very soon, or not far before him actually being obviously shot. And yeah, they just invaded his crib. It was I learned today it was right after a party, like literally 10 minutes after a party that he had in the house. Everybody gets out, they lock the door, security and everything, like the footage or whatever shows he locks the door. Their system shows the bolts locked, and then somebody comes in the back, they knock him off, and then there's three people waiting out front, and they just roll out. So it was a hit. It was surgical. And the crazy part is that unlike these other stories, they didn't even steal shit. Like it was an organized hit, So there's rumors out there as to why. It was, something pertaining to, a Rolls Royce or something that.
A lot of gang affiliated things.
Yeah, like the Woos and the Chews, right?
Yeah, and a bunch of New York beef.
Yeah, that somehow made its way to LA, and it's just sad, regardless of what it is, bro. Dude was 20 years old. He was just starting to peak. You know what I'm saying? Just starting to get into his groove, and
just dropped his album.
Yeah, apparently within the music industry, super young, humble dude. Obviously bravado and that sort of energy is big in hip hop, where you kind of come off arrogant or whatnot. But from people who actually knew him, he was a young sponge trying to learn, trying to grow. And so R.I.P. Pop Smoke,
Man,
rest in peace.
Damn, that's super sad, man. Because especially, him being, like you said, new up and coming artist. Like I was starting to get into him, and I was just like, man, that shit crazy, man. Because nowadays we seeing so many of these young cats going out and just, I don't even know, man. It's just sad, man. It make you just appreciate life a little bit more and those around you, man. And you can't take things for granted. My man, and his life was cut short, but in such a short span of time, he accomplished so much.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
shit, in a real short amount of time,
Yeah.
you barely learning his name, and he's on big ass albums. He got big ass song going. That Dior, that shit's a and
Banger.
that shit bangs. You know, the first song he ever put out was like this first
Welcome
big
to the
song.
Party.
Yeah, you got a Nicki Minaj remix, like. He's doing it, or he was, you know. So R.I.P. to him, man. It's a fucking sad story, and that shit make you want to just. Shit make at least something like me. It made me want to just be leaving like hip hop alone, bro. Honestly, like that. It's such a downside to the culture. It's like, you know what I'm saying, like, because most of where the money comes from, to be honest, like, is people who ain't really like living that life or about that life. You know, who was it? J. Cole that says, you know, basically rapping to and saying to the extent that like people, you know, in the suburbs and shit, just they listen to it and they fuck with it, but it's more so they can hear you throwing your life away and not necessarily like doing it themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that shit be pissing me off, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. It just sucks, bro, because we got too many young people out here dying. Because it made me think about Triple X. Like that's the first thing that popped into my mind, you know. Obviously, you know, we got a lot of people passing away, you know. Death moves in threes, they say, you know what I'm saying? So Kobe passing, him passing, you know, Gianna, like all these people passing, but like specifically in hip hop and in this way, like murder, you know what I'm saying? Triple X, you know, Nip, him, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, what are we doing? You know, like what's going on to where like you got whatever you're into is like attracting this, you know, and in his case, he was away from his hood, you know what I'm saying? But
It was in Beverly Hills.
He was in Beverly Hills, but you just can't run away from that shit. If that's the lifestyle you putting out there, it really don't matter your location anymore. Google is international, my nigga. Google Maps is you know, you get
People
into
can find you.
Yeah, you get into that satellite view. I can pull up to your crib. I know where your door is at, where your window's at, you know, and I can do that shit from anywhere, you know. So it's sad, man. So, but R.I.P. to him, man. You know, as far as sad ass shit goes, and young people being exposed and dying and all sorts of shit too soon.
What do they say? Art is often imitated or something?
Yeah, it's art imitates life and life imitates life, and yeah, so it's like a cyclical thing, you know. Yeah. But you know, to that extent, there was also, I think, you showed me this today. This this fucking 6-year-old girl did you remember that?
Yeah, in Orlando.
Yeah, in Florida, you know, same place that X got killed.
The shittiest state in America.
Absolutely, bro. It's like the armpit or just the shithole of America, in my opinion. Just like, anyway, let me get off that state.
Yeah, especially if by what we're talking about just the, I guess, the legal aspect, the political, whatever you want to call it.
The shit that's allowed to go on in that state is fucking ridiculous, bro.
It's endless. You can go back decades and centuries of how shit Florida has been historically.
Exactly. And, you know, not to shit on all people from Florida.
Yeah, not the people.
But, I mean,
some of the people.
Yeah, there's something there that breeds the
whatever
stupidity,
in the water.
Yeah, that goes on out there. So this young girl, apparently she gets into a fight or some shit.
Not even a fight. She would just act like, I guess.
No, they said she kicked a girl or some shit.
Or right? No, the teacher. I guess she was acting up the teacher, and she was, get off me.
Right,
hitting back or whatever.
Yeah, and then a fucking police officer, multiple police officers are brought in, and they literally arrest her. They put her in restraints.
Zip ties, yeah.
Zip ties, yeah, because she's too small. Cuffs won't fit her.
And this happened like in September. But the body cam footage just came out.
So obviously when footage comes out, it gets rehashed and there's no hiding from it now. And so this young girl gets taken out, and then you come to find out it's not just her. It's like multiple young people. They had one
an 8-year-old.
Yeah, who's, you know,
or no, this one was in Florida. I think it was in Jacksonville. The other one, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, like I don't want to use the wrong term, but like
she was not disabled, but she had a disorder.
Yeah, like
an ADHD disorder of some sort.
Yeah,
right.
And
ADD or something,
some mental disorder, and you know she's getting arrested too. Literally restrained and putting them in the back of a cop car. You know, it's like you're breeding and teaching these, and like you're like indoctrinating these young people to believe that they're a part of this system.
And what's crazy is I know it comes to no surprise to anybody, but yes, they are little black girls.
Oh yeah, no shit. Yeah, I thought they goes one thing.
Yeah, it goes on. It doesn't case. Oh, what was that? No, they're black.
Yeah, exactly. They got and they
What's worse is the little 6-year-old girl is arrested by a black man.
Yeah,
That's
two.
Yeah,
Two black men. One of them, I guess the lead gets fired, and the other one. I mean, it's crazy because not for nothing. I think he knew that he was in a weird situation because he's actually gentle with it. It's like, hey, honey, come here, bro. Like being gentle with
sound
it.
like a cop.
I do.
No, I'm saying.
Oh, he did. Yeah, But at the same time, he was like, he fucking put her in zip tied her up and walked her into a fucking police car and put her in the back. And I don't know where they took her, but
to the station, and she got fingerprinted.
Oh, she got booked.
She got fingerprinted. They took her fingerprints.
Yeah, bro. That's just
into like the juvenile center or whatever. And my thing is, if you watch the body cam for people out there, you could hear the little girl like pleading, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean whatever." She's
can you give me a second chance? She says,
yeah,
can I please get a second chance?
Like it's a child. And my thing is, you being a black officer, a man, somebody of his age and stature, you see this little girl, do you not see your own child if you have one, your niece, your anything? Like, do you have not some sympathy and compassion? Like, I don't understand, even if that is your job, like, you don't need to put her in the restraints. Like, even the teachers and the faculty is like, is that really necessary?
Yeah, the restraints necessary. Yeah.
And then have the nerve to say, oh, I guess this is a record for me now, putting a 6-year-old in. Like, you ain't shit. And the dude lost his job a couple of days after.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's like there's a special place in hell for people like that.
Yeah,
in my
for sure.
opinion.
If you look at the one who actually cuffs her or zip ties her, he's not the one who lost his job, because I don't think
it was him.
I don't think he was the authority. It's the guy who's wearing the body cam. Because remember, there's a guy, the body cam is facing what's going on. But if you look at his face and then they showed the picture, it didn't match. So I think it's the guy who's wearing the body cam, because he was the one actually in charge that made the call that said she's got to get locked up. The other guy is just, the one tasked with doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why he was more gentle, because he knew, like, this is a fucked up situation. But it's kind of like the military. When you're a cop, you give orders by your superior. You have to do it. You know what I'm saying? You're insubordinate. You lose your shit anyway. So I don't know what the fuck they're thinking in Florida. That's what it boils down to, is that there shouldn't have been. I don't think there should have even been police called. Like, that's not even the way to handle that situation.
You can't handle a 6-year-old. If you can't handle a 6-year-old, you don't need to be in that position. You don't need to have you don't need to be a teacher, whatever the hell your job is. You don't need to be working with kids if you can't handle a 6-year-old, to the point where you're not even contacting the parents.
Yeah.
That's first off. You're not even allowed to, that's a whole nother lawsuit they got to deal with, right? Because apparently you have to have consent from a parent to even have those type of, like, taken into custody in any of those situations. They have to be contacted.
Yeah.
And in both situations, they weren't contacted. No parents were informed on what's going on. They literally have to find out from someone else, like, oh, by the way, your kid just got sent up with the police. Like, what the hell do you mean, my kid?
Yeah, my fucking 6-year-old fucking baby
got arrested for what? Like, imagine, like, you're a parent and somebody call you and tell you your 6-year-old just got arrested. Like, what the hell did
I'm raising all of hell.
Oh,
it's about to be jihad wherever I pull up.
They gonna name the whole district after me by the time I'm done. It's about to be Elias Independent School District. You know what I'm saying? They about to have my face outside. You know what I'm saying?
BFISD, Big Funk.
Big Funk Independent School District. You know what I'm saying? You tired of the shitty ass school you go to? Come to Big Funk ISD, baby.
Yeah, bro.
No metal detectors, no nothing.
That shit crazy, man. But yeah. So it's a lot of wild shit going on. This is America. And speaking of wild shit and metal detectors and just detection of all shit, we also got a virus that's coming to kill us all. And apparently it's gotten worse.
Corona.
Apparently it's worse than the last time we fucking brought this shit up.
Bro, every time we look up, that motherfucker just keep multiplying, bro. I'm like, shit.
Niggas is dying for real now. They brought this shit to America now.
I'm moving.
Yeah, bro, it's time to go to Ethiopia. Some girl.
Oh, it's in Africa apparently now.
Yeah, nah, it was funny. This girl at work showed me said, "Hey, aren't black people exempt? Or like we can't get that shit." I said, "What you mean?" She googled that shit. Apparently, there's like an article that says like we can't get it, and then there was another one that's like that's bullshit. We can definitely.
Hell yeah, we get that shit. We get
Yeah.
I'm wearing a mask around all you.
Yeah, bro. So coronavirus is definitely on and popping.
Man, you saw. So the deputy health minister of Iran was up there doing his speech with the other, I guess, health minister, and as they're talking about this virus, my man's on the side. They're like looking at, how you talking about a virus? My man over here just coughing his lung out.
Yeah.
And then they do the test on him. Next day, they come to find out my man has been
That nigga got corona.
So he had to isolate himself.
Fuck.
And quarantine his own damn self. My man doing videos, cell phone videos. I'm getting treatment now.
That nigga, he's one dead guy.
Yeah, you added that, big dog.
So apparently, like, if you're young enough and got enough of a healthy immune system, you should be fine. I mean, that's what you're saying. So it's really the elderly and the babies who either haven't built an immune system or they're so old that their immune system is kind of weakening. Those are the people who are dying, because I think in China it's like at this point it's an absurd amount, 50,000 or some crazy number of people actually have it and or have got it, and maybe 10% or less have died from it. So I mean, it may not be fatal for everyone, but it definitely sucks. Definitely sucks ass. So
it's just crazy to think that, and even us being here in the States, we always think to ourselves like, oh shit, it's gonna come here sooner or later, right?
Yeah,
it's gonna touch our shores. Of course, they've had some reports, and then it's hit the military base in South Korea. One of the soldiers has been reported, and then
wasn't there like a cruise ship where they didn't even test these people and just let them all out, and that's how it got here, is because somebody was on that cruise ship and they just came to America, and now they're spreading that shit. It's Wigwood.
I'm not gonna lie. So I just bought my ticket for Colombia in April. And now I'm wishing I got the insurance to cancel, because once that motherfucker show up in Colombia, I'm gonna be like, nah. Nah.
I ain't
back
going
with a cough.
Yeah,
They ain't gonna
bro.
let me back in the States.
Hell no. They even brought it up in one of our next topics. They brought it up there in the fucking debate. They asked them, did you if you find, if the coronavirus got to a certain level, would you be willing to block people out, essentially, and like close the borders to people coming in who are even US citizens?
And if they got it,
what do you mean?
I'm saying, would you block? Or is it like asking them, would they block them if they had it? They were citizens.
I mean, or just closed it down in general and be like, hey, if you out the country, dog, USOL, man, you shit out of luck.
Yeah. What you mean? Shit. We gonna risk everybody for there's one person to come back?
Don't sit your ass where you at,
Yeah,
big
get
dog.
comfortable, big dog.
Or at least have like they'll probably have some quarantine at the airport or some shit, but yeah.
You better learn a new language. You're gonna have to pick up some Mandarin while your ass is stuck over there, dog, or wherever you
at, dog. You better be speaking Espanol, some Italian, goddamn Amariña, Tigriña, something, bro. Wherever you at, that's where you finna be, dog.
Would you like another napkin? Shishini.
Cause you ain't coming back in this motherfucker. Man, that shit crazy. I try to tell people. I looked it up. There's the Illuminati card game by I think his name is Steve Jackson or some shit.
We need to find that man.
Yeah, it's in a card game, and they didn't necessarily, I don't know if they named it by name, coronavirus, but a lot of shit that's went on in this world, and that Donald Trump being president is in that card game.
Which is crazy. I feel like a lot of people have been predicting this Donald Trump. It's probably because he's kind of, he's said it back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's more so like about the type of character he is like within society, and it's like, not only is it about him becoming president, but where the country would have to be to elect him. And lo and behold, here we are. But yeah, man, I digress, bro. So there's that. And
the coronavirus has been affecting more than just, I guess, people's health. Also,
Yeah.
the wealth.
Yeah, bro, it's affecting our fucking market, right? The stock market is plummeting. It's went down 2,000 points, which is almost 10%. Yeah, you could say.
Hit them with the numbers, man.
Yeah, it's a lot, bro.
How bad is it?
7. So there's when the market drops like this, there's actually, depending on what the if it was an individual stock, if it drops at a certain pace, like 7% or so, and they'll actually put a stop on it, like they'll take it off the market. And that's where we're at over the last 2 days. Not that they've not about individual shares, but the whole market. Yeah, because we were we were just over 29,000, and then we dropped down under to around 26 and some change. So yeah, it's that's the Dow Jones, which is like one of the industrial averages.
Both of them too, right? The
Yeah,
Dow and the
S&P 500. Yeah, because all those are composites. Like those points are just measurements that are based on all the other stocks that are within that market, if you will, or that marketplace. So long story short, shit has been dropping like a lot, and all it is people just pulling out their fucking money, right? And to me, I call it like, we call it a correction. It's like, in my opinion, is when shit hits the fan, stocks correct to where they should be. Like there's like an actual value that's placed on these stocks, and then there's like inflation because people are excited, so they buy it up, right? Like to me, Amazon being above 2,000 blows my fucking mind. Like it blew my mind when it went over 1,000, to be honest. Facebook being over 200 or whatever the fuck, like all these different stocks shooting up to where they are. Just I'm still having a hard time understanding it. But now that this shit goes on, it's funny because one, they call him the Bond King. I don't want to fuck up his last name. It starts with a G, like Goldberg or some shit. He was trying to blame it on politics, right? But a lot of people are saying there's just so much panic because of the coronavirus and what it could do overall, like in the world, as far as impacting economic growth. Because a stock market is just a bet. It's just legal gambling, right? You're saying, hey, I'm willing to put up this money on this individual stock or this mutual fund because I'm placing a bet that in future time it will be worth more, right? So that's the idea, is you invest now, sell later, buy low, sell high, right? So you're just betting. And what people are saying, or what they're saying now, is that people are pulling out of their money because they feel like the bet isn't worth it, right? Or that in the future, people's money is the economy's growth, or the world economy's growth is just going to slow down because motherfuckers going to get sick. We're going to have to shut down a lot of shit, blah, 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 blah. This guy is saying, yeah, it could be that, or it could be that Bernie Sanders is winning. And so people are having fear about the fact that Bernie may be the Democratic nominee, and then what that may mean, because then there's a chance that he could win, and then taxes, everything changes, and so on and so forth. And that kind of brings us to like our main point, right? So like just wrapping up Buna time and wrapping up that first segment of just talking about all the current events of the day and getting back to like how this affects us, right? Black America, if you will, and politics and the black agenda, the black vote. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about this most recent debate that just went down, I believe it was last night, was it was in South Carolina, which is kind of like the debate to black people. It was funny you called it, and I didn't think about it, but then you even explained it today. Like, half of the voting population there is black. Like it's probably the blackest state in the country, and so it just seemed like that whole debate was just towards black people, or towards minorities, but specifically towards black people, right? And when
crazy debate.
It was a crazy debate.
It's getting very personal almost.
Very testy.
But that's always the case now with these debates. It's more like a yelling competition at the beginning.
Yeah, bro. And it's funny because the people who they think are pompous and don't, those are people who are following the rules the most. Yeah. And then like the people who are like championing some sort of, I don't know. Let me just say it like it is. You got the Bloomberg and Biden are like the two who feel like, people feel like are more entitled out of all of them, right? They're the only ones who are stopping at the time they're supposed to stop. Anytime a moderator tells them to stop, they stop. Or even, they just look at the timer ends, they just shut up. Especially Bloomberg. I don't know if you noticed, he was like, da-da-da-da-da, and like it seems like somebody just muzzled him, but that's just because he saw the timer ended, and he just stopped talking. And then you have, fuck's her name? I always forget her name, from Minnesota. No, I know Elizabeth Warren. Klobuchar. And she just fucking I feel like she's the more entitled when she feel like I'm up here, and she just be talking and mom joking, and I'm not a big fan of Klobuchar like at all. And then
you could tell the people who are going to do the most are the ones who are on the bottom of the poll, because they have to make a name for themselves. They got to put themselves somewhere in front of the pack.
Yeah, but even what's his name, Buttigieg has been he's been successful in these first couple caucuses and stuff, because there's a bunch of white states, and that's who he does well with. And he was, to me, I was like severely annoyed by. He would do the rudest shit, in my opinion, which is while somebody's talking, he's talking at the same time, and you can't even fucking hear what. Like Bernie was trying to explain his thing and explain a stance that he had, and he's literally talking simultaneously with him, like, yeah, so let's talk about it. Yeah, so you should talk about it. It's like, bro, he's fucking trying to tell you his fucking stance. Why don't you shut the fuck up and listen to what he's trying to say?
That's what they want to do, because he's on top right now. He won the Nevada caucus.
Yeah.
He's the front runner for the ticket.
Yeah.
So everybody's eyes is on him. So everybody's pointing.
Ain't got a lick of a black vote.
No, hell no.
Ain't nobody voting for his
Black people can't even say his name. I could barely pronounce it.
Yeah.
But how you say it?
Booty Judge.
Booty Judge.
That's Buttigieg, but either.
Alphabet game on you, boy.
Okay.
No pun intended.
Yeah, all the puns. But yeah, so the Booty Judge didn't do so well, and I mean, my thing is I think like they all playing right into Bernie's hand, because Bernie said what I felt like needed to be said, and the fact that like he's like, yo, these stances that I have are not really that radical, like. They just
keep calling it radical.
They're kind of trying to paint him as radical, and
that's
like,
politics. You whatever the situation is, you put a word in it.
Yeah,
like climate change.
Yeah, global warming.
That sounds a lot better.
Yeah,
no, it's like, it's not global warming. We'll call it climate change.
Yeah, nah, bitch, this shit's getting hot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so it's arguable. It's arguable who's the best for whom. I feel like if you just look on the record, Biden don't have a good record when it comes to black people. Bloomberg don't have. People think he do, because
and they pull their cards every time.
Who?
I'm saying in general, like every time during the debate,
yeah,
they start pointing out stuff about the other person. Like, oh, let me tell you about what this motherfucker did.
Yeah. Your stupid ass voted for the crime bill.
Yeah.
You the reason why all these black boys locked up. He's like, wait, I was with Obama. Nigga, that don't matter.
He said, whoa. I put a lot of black people in office. Look at all my black friends in the audience. You see that? Nigga, what's good? Sorry.
Brother. You know what I'm saying? But Biden ain't no good when it comes to black folk. Bloomberg ain't no good when it comes to black folk.
First of all, Bloomberg, for people who don't know, was a Republican. Now he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you just switch sides like that.
Yeah, he just rich, bro. He can do whatever he want when you got money. I mean, shit, he just went, renewed his license, and when they said, would you like to re-register? Yeah, register me as a Democrat this time.
It looked like there's a chance there. I signed up for this one.
Yeah, little bitch. But he's one of the proponent for stop and frisk in New York City, which disproportionately had police having physical interactions with black males, in particular black and brown men, and
just allowed them to stop them.
Allowed them to stop them.
There was what's the word I'm looking for? No purpose, no
probable cause.
No probable cause.
Yeah, it was just a matter of, hey, we got to get guns off the street. And then he's going to stand by the fact that crime went down significantly, which it did. But I mean, you go from 600 murders to 300 murders, right? And that's fine. But you know, when you are stopping and frisking thousands and thousands of young black men, it's like it's hard to say it's not worth it, but it's hard to say it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got people going to jail for all sorts of different shit, or at least having, you know, interactions with police that are not safe, especially for us, because, you know.
And those numbers, and even I feel even anytime I see numbers in those sorts, I always have a question, because the numbers don't always explain everything. You could see that a crime has gone down by X amount percent, right?
Yeah.
But how much of that is correct, right? So if you're stopping and frisking, you know, so many people, and you're arresting so many people, how many of those people are actually innocent?
Oh,
how
right.
many of those people were, you could say, I guess, set up, right?
Yeah.
And it does. It might sound insane. Like, why would the cops set up this poor innocent black man? I don't know. It's only been happening for centuries, but you know, that's ridiculous, right? But people have quotas.
Yeah, big facts.
There's a whole lot of reasons why. So I don't always I hate numbers in this. I don't hate numbers, but I hate that not every number has an explanation behind it. There's always a story behind
there's
it.
relativity, and there's you know, relevance and circumstance that doesn't get explained in numbers, right? Nuance is the word I was looking for. But yeah, so Bloomberg, when it comes to black folk, Biden, Buttigieg's the worst in my opinion.
And hold on, and there's that other guy. I always forget his name, Sayer or something.
Oh, they say he's actually one of the best when it comes to as far as like what he stands for and what he's done relative to black people. But I'm talking about who we're nixing.
Sayer.
Yeah, I'm talking about who we're nixing first. Buttigieg. Not only does he just not stand for what a lot of people in the black community stand for, but also as the mayor of Indiana, single-handedly was part of why the commissioner, who was black, lost their job of the police department and the fire department. It's often said, like, within their circles that, you know, people who are vouching for him and behind him are, you know, all about putting, like it was said that when he became the mayor, they were like, yeah, it's time to put another, you know, change things around here and put a lot of white people back in office. It's like very anti-black sentiments that surround Buttigieg, and not only just sentiments, but the shit he's done. It's been very anti-black, so he's out. And then Klobuchar, who was a prosecutor, and this blows my mind. How do you let Klobuchar make it this far, who herself was a prosecutor, who herself locked up, you know, black and brown people all the time, and specifically sentenced a 16-year-old to life in prison who's still serving that sentence? But then we got the nerve to get mad at fucking Kamala Harris. Man, black folks make me sick with this shit. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. We get mad at our own people, and we, you know, I mean, I guess to an extent you can understand, you know, you want to judge our own people, like you know, you should have looked out for us. But we let these other motherfuckers do way worse to us, and I, in a way, give them a pass because they're white, because what we expected. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you know, but you know, Kamala Harris, who was doing the same shit, literally the same path as Klobuchar, you know, prosecutor to senator, right? She was attorney general, which gave her even another, you know, step up. I'm not sure if Klobuchar, she may have been attorney general actually in Minnesota, but literally, you know, from lawyer, you know, criminal lawyer, you know, on the prosecution side up through senator, same thing. But Kamala Harris got fried by us, and we let these other people keep Klobuchar. So anyway, as far as she's concerned, she's out too, right? So then who you got left? You got Steyer, you got Bernie, you got Elizabeth Warren. Is there only 7 left? Who am I missing?
If you can't remember, they're not important.
Yeah, fuck them, right?
But Steyer, even if you think about it, he's private, is involved in private prisons in South Carolina and in Georgia. Biden called him out on that because you know them two are going back and forth.
What is he? Is he a senator? I don't know this motherfucker. Is he just
He's
rich?
a businessman.
He's a businessman.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's similar to like Kind of like an Andrew Yang. He's a successful businessman.
I think I've heard that just a lot of he's probably the person who, because he came in really late, he's probably the person who I've like studied upon or know the least, because he didn't have any political background, and then he came into the race late. But I hear that a lot of his stances and a lot of what he stands for as far as what the government should do are very pro-black. You know what I'm saying? Like they work well towards black people. I don't know that to be the case, but with Warren and Bernie, Bernie's got all the clout, all the reputation. He's been part of civil rights and part of pushing agenda for black and brown people since the 60s, you know what I'm saying? And probably before, you know, as a young man. But in politics, you know, he been about that life for over 50 fucking years.
But they pulled his card too on a lot of things.
Oh, no, well, on what?
Well, so the Cuba thing.
But that had nothing to do with black people.
Yeah, but you know, it was his comments, and the thing I like about Bernie is he doesn't run away from the things that are thrown at him, the things that question his character or question his resume and the things he's voted for and done. He openly even said, yes, I have made bad votes. He acknowledges his mistakes, which a lot of people don't do.
But even with that, his vote, what they were talking about when they were mad because he said Cuba did a good job in this specific thing.
In education, yeah.
And
educational, yeah.
Yeah, and if they fucking improved education, you know, tenfold or whatever the fuck they did in the country, just because you don't like Cuba at the time doesn't mean you can't acknowledge. Like, I got what he was saying. Yeah. I'm very much about compartmentalizing things, and the one truth, you know,
they'll twist it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, one thing being true doesn't necessarily mean like the whole thing is different, but the truth is the truth. So if he's saying, yo, they did good in education, then they fucking did good in education. It doesn't matter how, you know, how much you hate the country, or if, you know, we have embargoes against them and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he was saying, yeah, that for what it's worth, I don't agree with their totalitarianism and all that other shit, but they did do good in education. I can't get mad at that person. That's just me, though. That's just how I see things. And then you got Elizabeth Warren, who, from the economic perspective, has you know, that's where her stronghold is in regards to what she's done.
Education, all of that.
I mean, education is more so from her background as being an educator, but I'm talking about like in the Senate, her only claim to fame is going up against the banks and how they disproportionately went after, you know, minorities and people of, black and brown skin when it came to like the housing and how they do their predatory lending and all that other shit. So to that extent, Bill is an ugly motherfucker, man. So to that extent, you know, I can't be mad at either of them two. Yeah. Personally, I think that there's a bit of like an elitist sort of, there's like an energy that I get from Elizabeth Warren that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Only to the extent like I feel like she almost feels like, I like that she's a fighter. Yeah. I like that she doesn't have any fear. Yeah, I like. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. I mean, amongst the group, I mean, Andrew Yang is gone, right?
I liked him.
That was my number one. I would like to see a Biden Warren ticket personally.
I don't really care.
I mean, not Biden Warren. Excuse me.
Bernie.
Yeah, Sanders, Warren. That's the ticket I would like to see personally.
And what's interesting is, like, for instance, Bloomberg's, because again, Sanders was the target of the debate.
Yeah.
Because hell, you're going to try to knock the man on top off, right? To kind of get you, try to move up on that ladder. Yep. And one of the things he even said was Russia helped Trump win office, and Russia wants Sanders to win because they know he can beat, or Trump can beat Sanders. And so that was one thing that was interesting, is he wants to use that example. And then you got, they call him out on his decisions in voting and stuff like that. Because, gun control is a big thing within the Democratic party, right? And he voted against the Brady bill, and so they called him out on that. And for those who don't know,
Brady, is that the one?
Go ahead. The waiting period and the vetting process, basically, to be able to get a gun.
Yeah, I mean, he's the not for nothing, obviously. Like, he's the the senator of Vermont, and there's his people. Yeah, they're fucking farmers for the most part. They go out and hunt and shit, so that's not good for him.
Yeah, but he acknowledged it. He said, he's like, yes, I have made bad votes.
Yeah.
Like, he acknowledges.
And not only that, they were trying to get on to him about him choosing to not prosecute gun makers.
Yeah.
For whenever they get into some
like
shit.
Not being able to sue the gun maker.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And I mean, look,
how can you sue a gun maker for your dumbass?
Listen, if that's all they got all off of a damn half century of being in civil rights and politics, like this is what this is what you got on this guy? Cool. Sign me up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what people don't like about Bernie is that they feel like, the whole socialist agenda and the fact that, it's anti-capitalist. And I don't think it's anti-capitalist. Like, what I feel like people got to understand is the concept of tax brackets, right? And so when you're getting up in that income level, right, you've got the poverty level, which is like 12,000 or may have been inflated now 20,000 or less, right? And then you got like the middle class, which is whatever that through 30 something through 60 something, and then upper middle class 60 something through 90 something, and then 90 to 150 to 250 to 500 to million, 1 million to 5 million, and then 5 million plus, right? If you're telling me that the people who are making a shit ton of money can't afford to pay more in taxes, if I was making a shit ton of money, right? Like, the reality of it is that unless I'm doing something like that is paying that money forward, which is what they have deductions and exemptions for, you know what I'm saying? It don't make sense for me to not pay taxes, like to not pay more. You feel me? Like, the only reason, this is what I hope people understand, is the only reason why anyone can make that sort of money is because there is a system in place. You know what I'm saying? Like the American economy, the world economy is a system that is in place. And the only reason why this whole thing can keep churning is because America exists and because it allows it to, right? Because if this shit flips upside down, you're not going to be able to continue to make money. And that's where I think like where the selfishness comes from, is because rich people, rather than thinking, which if they were smart, they would, hey, take my taxes, get it, make everybody happy. I'm still going to be rich as fuck. But there won't be a lot of poverty, a lot of crime, a lot of this, a lot of that, and which would be good for me because then that would allow me to still make a lot of fucking money. And if people have money, this is America, they're going to use the money to consume more products, more services, blah, 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 blah. So it's going to just keep rotating.
Yeah, it'll get put back into it.
Yeah, you're going to just still be rich. You still going to be top 1%. Ain't nothing going to change. The difference is that you have this rising tide that raises all boats. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to have the lower end has been risen. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to have 500,000 people that are homeless in this country. It doesn't make sense.
They say the average household in America is 40,000 or something.
Yeah, but the average black household don't have a month in savings.
Yeah.
Imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus.
They don't have a month in savings, bro.
A month.
Living check to check. This shit don't make no sense. But then you have people who are raking in hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars a year. Companies that are making damn near like trillions of dollars over a 10-year span. And they're not paying shit in taxes. But the person who's working in the Amazon, for example, right? The person who's working, I got a cousin who literally works in an Amazon warehouse. And he pays 10 times the effective tax rate as Amazon does itself. What sense does that make, bro?
Makes no sense.
You feel what I'm saying?
And people don't understand it because you only look at it from a surface level. But when you start peeling things back and you really start noticing things like that and you really start looking deep into it, then you really start seeing who it affects, man.
Yeah, bro. And it's what pisses me off is like, I got a good friend. He's like a brother to me, and I know he votes right. He's a brother too, and he makes good money. And his perspective, raised black conservative, and his perspective is, I wanna be able to. He's very self sufficient within himself, right? And I want to be able to be a billionaire one day, and when I get there, I don't want nobody telling me, I don't want nobody taking all my money, and I don't want to be doing all that I'm doing so somebody else can get healthcare and blah 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 blah. And and when I think of it that way, when I feel it so close to home, I'm like, I get what you're saying because you work your ass off to get where you are. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, relative to what you're losing, it's like it don't make no difference, bro. Like a billionaire, if you're making five, like I'm not even gonna go that high. Think of an NFL player, all right? An NFL player, let's say like the high end, right? Because we're not talking about, to me, I'm not even talking about that 1 million to 5 million bracket. Yeah, maybe they're attacking. I'm talking about the uber rich. You know what I'm saying? There's people making 20 plus million a year.
We talking about the Jeff Bezos. And
oh man, that's that's like the higher end.
Yeah,
like the super rich. You're making that type of money. There's no what good is it for you to hold on to that shit? Like, you're literally just siphoning money out of the world and you're just holding on to it for yourself. You're hoarding it for what? What good is that? You know what I'm saying? And the people are talking all this shit like, he created this something $1 billion. He donated it. No, he created a fund, which is for him to go spend the shit however he wants to for quote unquote philanthropy. It's just, I'm never gonna understand that shit. Maybe when I get my billions up, maybe I'll be at the point where I can be like, oh, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think I could get it.
I don't either.
I'm trying to look at it like you make more money than most countries, like GDP. Like that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like you can literally.
And you mad about giving some percentage points back to them.
You could literally feed the world. You can honestly, if you put all the billionaires together, if they came together and said, hey, we can create world peace, because it's really money that drives. When you're broke, everything. That's what causes you to go out and do dumb shit. That's what causes you to commit crimes, regardless of, it's your situation.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you have nothing, you're assed out, people are broke, so what are they doing? They stealing, they robbing, they committing crimes, they in the streets.
Murder.
There's education, there's no school systems here, it's shit. There's a whole systematic issue of the things that are going to go on that causes this. It's recurring in every place. It doesn't matter if it's America, Africa, Europe, wherever. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's money, right? And money drives the world, like we all know.
Yep.
If these billionaires came together
yep.
and they went into every part of this world and they fixed it with the money they have, it wouldn't even put a dent in their pockets.
Yeah.
And they could literally create world peace and world stability damn near.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Yeah. But no.
Why would they not? Is it greed? What is it?
I mean, I think a big part of it is greed, and a big part of it is knowing that the way that the system currently is benefits them because, they're able to live how, I mean, a part of it is just like benign neglect, bro. It's like,
And maybe I'm just thinking about it so simply. I don't know. Maybe it's a lot more difficult than it is. Who knows?
Nah, because if you think about it, they get up there and they do the same shit. The Buffetts, the Gates, even Bloomberg. He said my whole plan now is, to spend to donate or use all the money to do things before he wants to die broke. You know what I'm saying? He's got billions and billions of dollars, like real billions, not Trump billions, like billions of B's. He's one of the top richest people in the world, and his whole thing is to spend it all before he died. And I get it, but at the same time, if you were able to do that, and part of it also though, we do have to blame the government, and to the extent that you can't trust and know where the tax money is gonna go. You know what I'm saying?
Goes to defense.
It does. Most of it does go to defense. Most of it goes to the military, and
The
so
military budget is always growing
yeah. So if
as
there
others are getting cut.
and if there's a way to, like if there was a way for us to choose where our tax money went, I think that would be very much so effective. But again, that's why I was talking about earlier, like deductions and shit, right? Like the truth of the matter is you could reduce how much you're paying in taxes by donating it. So even if you did that, at least that money is going somewhere, like effectively, you know. But they think they're smart because they put it into like, you know, their companies, or they create shell companies, or they move it offshore, or, you know, they reinvest it, which then it's like it's not taxed because it's spent on business and blah 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 blah. So anyway, I guess my point in all that is to say, as far as the black agenda is concerned, I think we would be best, like, it would be most beneficial for amongst the parties that we have left, for Warren and Bernie, Warren, or however you want to have that ticket. You're going to need people who are willing to shake up the system. And I don't even think it's just going to be black people, to be honest. But
it's Black History Month. That's what we focused on.
That's what we focused on right now. And I think that would be big.
And I guess to kind of even get back into the theme of the black politics and everything, for those, because everybody always wonders, like you were saying before, Democrat, Republican, and majority of black people tend to go Democrat, right? And a lot of Republicans use the whole Abraham Lincoln Republican Party as we free the slaves. We're your real friends. The Republican Party is your friends. But what people don't realize is historically those two parties' ideals have switched in a way, which is they Bloomberged. That's what we're gonna call it. They Bloomberg.
They Bloomberg.
So you went from the Republicans, who were pretty much the liberals in the beginning when they were founded, right?
Yeah.
So for those, we'll give them. I guess we'll do a little history lesson here.
Yeah.
So Republican Party was formed in 1856, right, and was liberal, opposing expansion of slavery, calling for more spending on public education, seeking open immigration, similar to what the Democratic Party is today.
Yeah.
Right. So you had Abraham Lincoln, of course, who freed the slaves during the Civil War. And of course, he gets all the credit for that. But realistically, we know what was really behind that. And again, it cost him his life. Because back then, man, if you think about these, a lot of presidents was getting shot, man.
Yeah.
They had like no protection damn near. It was like, I don't know how it was back then, because, we don't really have pictures and videos of it. But you would always, historically, it's like he got shot. Who else got shot? There was God damn, what was the other guy? There's a couple other people who've been shot. Even Teddy Roosevelt's been shot.
Yeah.
At least 3-4 people have been shot.
Yeah.
To where the point of like, it's like, damn, you guys are just sitting ducks, right?
Yeah.
You're American leaders. And
all the way up to Kennedy.
Up to Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
Well, shit, even up to was it Reagan?
Yeah.
Reagan even got shot.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be technically our last president that's been shot. And of course, there's been attempts on other ones, not even close. I think Obama's life has been put in jeopardy, but it wasn't even significantly even close to him.
Yeah.
Trump, I'm surprised ain't nobody shot that motherfucker yet.
Yeah. At least tried to, yeah.
Yeah, at least tried to. But honestly, I wouldn't want that smoke either. Shit.
Hell nah.
You don't want that smoke with Trump.
Fuck no. Nah,
It'd disappear. Your whole family disappear in the night.
Shit. He's mob ties for real.
He gang for real. Yeah. My man sent a drone to shoot somebody on the way to the airport. He ain't fucking around, dog.
Hell nah.
He ain't playing around, all right? Yeah, don't say no dumb shit about him, all right? Yeah. He'll come at you on Twitter.
Real
at
shit.
the hundreds in the funk is real. Be like, hey, man, y'all niggas got me I heard what you said. Talking that shit.
I'm blowing up the whole village.
I know you guys in Carrollton. Tell Bill, I see what he's typing. Tell AMX.
I'm on his ass.
I'm on him. The Ukrainians, shit, that was me.
Links Lab, it's over with.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know I knew what that was, huh? Housley Way, huh? You ain't know. Just dropping little gems like that, just giving our info out.
Yeah.
But to go back on to what I was talking about. So, like, the parties ended up switching for people who don't know. The Democrats were, the Southern Democrats is what a lot of people might be familiar with historically. They were all the sharecroppers, slave owners, things of that sort. Civil War, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They strongly opposed all those liberal ideas. They were more conservative, right? And through the latter years, it started to switch. And you had Benjamin Harris, who was a GOP elected president in 1888. But he was on a liberal platform seeking more social services. And then by 1896, the reverse began when the Democrats nominated a populist, William Jennings Bryan, who they called the Great Commoner. So they say he was the first liberal to win the Democratic presidential nomination, which represented a radical departure from the conservative roots of the Democratic Party. So that's when we started to see the shift in the parties, right?
Yeah.
And then while they started switching, Theodore Roosevelt, who people might know the name historically, right, from the Civil War, and he was a general in the war. He was a Union general who was credited for, helping win the war.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was a very popular individual. And also a vice president at the time, right? So after McKinley, that's who I was. He was assassinated in 1901.
Shit.
He was a Republican liberal who supported a square deal for working families. He broke up the monopoly trust of rich corporations. He championed pure food and drugs. He created national parks and forests.
He's on Roosevelt.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and that's how he ended up winning the Nobel Peace Prize, because he helped in the war between Russia and Japan. Right. And so after leaving office, Roosevelt felt that his successor, Taft, was leading America too far to the right, was a little too conservative. Right. So Roosevelt started gathering his liberal delegates, and he formed a progressive party, and they were damn near borderline what you would consider socialism nowadays. Right. And so to kind of even fast forwarded, that group wanted national universal medical or healthcare, I guess, whatever the time was. They wanted pension for retirees, compensation for job loss, disability. Also demanded the 8-hour workday, a minimum wage for women as well. Also, federal income tax, supported women's voting, freedom for workers, all of these sorts of things. Also, workers' comp in case of injuries. And so these were a lot of the things that were starting to come up, right? And so you're starting to see this change, right? Mm-hmm. So they start believing like this is where the change started coming within the parties. And then essentially as that started switching, right, now you had up into the 60s when Lyndon B. Johnson, for those who don't know, was the vice president of JFK, who became president right after the assassination.
Yep.
He vastly expanded the public safety net and gave legal equality to African Americans, driving racist Dixies out of the Democratic Party into the GOP. Right. So this is when people started. Right.
The quote unquote, like the people who we consider who are racist.
Yes.
Jumped ship and went to Republicans.
Exactly. Because for people who don't know, Lyndon B. Johnson is from Texas.
Yes,
so he is, I guess, what would be considered a Southern Democrat, right?
Yeah.
And so,
75 is named after him, the highway.
Exactly. Lyndon B. Johnson, or 635.
LBJ. Oh, yeah, excuse me, 635, yeah.
And so he's when you started seeing the switch in the parties, right? And so now you started seeing all the Southerners that were Democrats because of this, who didn't agree with all these civil rights laws being put in place, they switched. So that's when we start seeing the big switch, right? So that's just to kind of give you a little backdrop on that, right? Now, why were black people supporting this, right? Because, of course, he went ahead and implemented the civil rights laws, right? Yeah. Protecting blacks, giving them the ability to vote, which they already had. Again, for those who don't know, when Lincoln freed the slaves. That was the 13th Amendment. The 14th made black people, I guess, recognized citizens because technically the 13th wasn't clear enough in that.
Yeah.
And then the 15th, again, since the 14th wasn't clear enough, the 15th came along and gave blacks the rights to vote.
Yeah.
Right. So it's crazy that,
Took 3 amendments.
3 amendments to finally get them to vote, right?
Yeah.
You went from 3/5 of a human to finally being a human and being free.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I guess we can call them some Americans.
Yeah.
Damn, you're an American. I guess technically you can vote, right? That's unconstitutional to call you that and not give you the right to vote. So we'll throw that in there too. So shit. Anything else we got to fix? Damn. Yeah, you niggas is picky. The white folks is thinking at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so now, as now black people can vote, but what the problem was is you had all these things. Of course, there's loopholes in everything they put, right? Because they're not gonna just give it to you. Yep. So now, when they gave them the right to vote, there were still things that were grandfather clauses. There were literacy tests. There were taxes. Different restrictions that were put in place that were pretty much obstacles that black people were going to have to overcome to be able to, because they knew not everybody would qualify, a good majority. And then again, when you started freeing the slaves, you've seen the creation and the expansion of the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
Right. So now you had this white supremacy terrorist group who terrorized and scared black people away from the polls. Mm-hmm. So now you implement fear, and along with different mandates and laws that are prohibiting black people to vote, right?
Yep.
And so, mind you, this is going well into the 1900s, right? So this is 50 plus years after all these amendments have been put in place, right? And then you had the civil rights laws come in. And then you had the voter rights laws starting to be put in place, right? Which got rid of the literacy test, right?
Yeah.
Which got rid of the taxes on there, right? So, and the grandfather clauses. So now it opened up the ability. So that's when you seen the spike in black people voting, right? Mm-hmm. And because of that, they had to vote. They voted Democrat because it was Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson who put these laws in place, right?
I figured you held us down. Exactly. I'm gonna hold you down.
So it started with JFK and LBJ, right?
Yeah.
So they garnered the black votes, right? Because they supported the blacks at the time, right? And so immediately that's when blacks latched on to the Democratic Party for that purpose, right? Because they supported them. They spoke for them in a sense.
Yeah.
And so in turn, what happens? You start getting Republicans back in the office, and then you got that. Now they all in the Republican side. They say, hey, brother, you want my vote? We got to figure out a way to keep these niggers out that damn voting booth, all right?
Yeah.
So what happens? Now you start having different laws put in place that are going to start hindering, right?
Yep.
So now you can't let felons vote, right? Who's the majority of the felons? Black people, niggas, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Because we already know that's a whole systematic,
that's
a whole systematic issue itself, where just marginalized into prisons and so forth, right?
Shit, I mean, we talked about it earlier. We got an education, we got a school to prison pipeline that's been going on in this country.
And then you have,
as soon as we were allowed in the schools, they said, okay, there's a path from you to go from school to jail.
Exactly. Right. It's literally, you graduate, bye, you in there. It's like, it's college. What's college? The University of, you're going to Penn State.
Penn State.
Penn State, Penitentiary State Prison. That's what it is. That's what the system was designed for black people, right? And then you had these gerrymandering laws start being put into place.
Yeah.
And now, what did they start doing? It's still common now. It's still happening now.
Texas is like chief gerrymander of the whole nation. Yeah.
So now you get rid of voting. You tear down all these voting centers, and where are they typically at? They're in the majority black and brown counties. So now you're hindering black voters to go out. So now the turnout for early voting has been diminished. Yep. And now where even in Texas, where over 400 or 500 voting areas have been removed, right? And these are all in these common areas. And especially for anybody who's familiar with a state like Texas, it's hard to get around Texas, all right? For the most part, things are far. Yeah, without a car. If you don't have a car, if you don't have transportation, our public transportation ain't the most easiest thing to kind of
It's not the most advanced.
Not the most advanced. It's not like a New York or somewhere in the East Coast where you could just hop on a train and
it's all interconnected in a way.
So now you've hindered voting still in this aspect. So essentially, that's why most black people aren't going to vote Republican when you start really peeling back and looking at the historically why it's been like that. So just to kind of give some historical context to a lot of
by
people.
By the time black people were actually able to vote, like all the way, even though legally it may have been all the way back, you know, at the 15th Amendment, by the time it was actually functional, we were functionally able to do so, the people who had made that possible were Democrats at the time. So therefore we started voting Democrat because we were loyal to the people who allowed us to vote, quote unquote. Whereas the original party that ended up being the opposite party as the party that had, you know, allowed us to be free. Yeah. Appreciate that time, that history lesson, that timeline from freedom to voting, which was supposed to happen pretty much at the same time, but took over 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years just to be after slavery, just to get the right to vote. Wow. And then another 50 years to finally get the voting rights law. So essentially 100 years.
And then another 50 years to get a black president.
Yeah. So in total, that's 150 for those who aren't too quick on their math. And what people don't realize is that was a record vote for black people showing up was, of course, in Obama at 2012. And then
08.
Oh, yeah, but I guess 2012, I think it might have jumped up a little bit more, but still, those are the record numbers.
He went down.
Oh, in 2012?
Yeah. Okay. 08 was a blowout.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
08, it's like, oh shit, we got a chance.
Oh yeah,
I'm in there.
Yeah.
I wish I could have voted that time, right? But
me too. You
weren't 18 yet?
I was 17. Yeah.
That was a year before.
Yep.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It was 08. And then you had I guess 2016 being the lowest turnout. Mm-hmm. Again, that goes, of course, black people don't like Hillary.
No.
Plain and simple. Shit, white people don't like Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary is part of the problem. She was part of that same crime bill. Yep. Bringing them to heel. She was
that criminal justice. And that's the biggest thing nowadays, right? Super predators. That was her.
Yeah.
Her phrase.
Yeah, bringing them to heel. It's I feel like there's three big things that it comes down to, right? Criminal justice reform, education reform, and then just pure economics, right? And being able to do things that are specifically catered to the black community or black people, and through economics and through that's where you get into the whole Medicare for all, right? Because medicine in itself is its own silo, but the thing that makes medicine hard is the economic aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? We have great doctors, we have big ass companies who can make whatever the fuck you need to put in your body to make you at least not feel sick. But the problem is the cost. Like, you can literally have the same medicine and go over the border in Canada and get it for less. It doesn't make any sense. Made by the same company. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like, just to, kind of peel back to the, beginning of us talking about, the black agenda and the black vote, just bringing it all full circle. I think when you think about all that and it comes to a head, those three main things, who to me represents, the ability to go after those three topics or those three main aspects of leadership. And I just personally feel like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, to me, are like miles ahead of the rest. And that's kind of funny because Elizabeth Warren has the shortest tenure in regards to politics. She just barely got in over the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? But she comes from an educational background. She ain't scared of shit. You know what I'm saying? She says she's a fighter. Sometimes you kind of, because I know I may take flack for this, but I'm not the biggest fan of standing, you kind of know what the sensitive points are in this country now, so you kind of use it to your advantage. I think Klobuchar does it the most, which is why I don't like her. She kind of just like, what would be great? Voting for a woman. Yeah, it's like, all right, cool, but what are you doing that's other than being a woman? What makes you great?
That doesn't qualify you for nothing.
That doesn't qualify like your gender. I think if we're realizing something is that if we're being truly holistic in the realization is that gender is not a qualification, male or female, right? That's supposed to be the idea. Not because I'm female, I should just like you believe because someone is a man, that doesn't mean that they should do it. Same thing applies to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, I feel like sometimes, that's where she was standing on a little. It's like, vote for me because I'm a woman. It's like, nah, I want to vote for you because you're the best person for the job. You know what I'm saying? Hillary lost on that vote for me because I'm a woman shit, and we got Trump. You feel me? So let's find who's best for the country, and not give a fuck if they're a man or a woman, because if a woman is best for the country, then she should be the fucking leader easily. You know what I'm saying? And so I would like them two as a tandem, and I think that's what's gonna happen. I hope that's what happens, man.
Because honestly,
I really do.
Even in the debate, she said it. They have pretty much identical ideas and in thought, right?
Yeah.
The only difference is she said, I'm a safer option than Bernie, which is basically, I feel like that's her way of saying, hey, bruh, remember me when you make that Democratic ticket, when you need that vice president on there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I felt like that was her way of kind of like tagging
Who
on.
else she gonna pick, bro? I mean, who else he gonna pick? Honestly,
he's gonna pick her. If he wins the Democratic ticket,
he's got to.
He has to.
He'd be stupid not to, in my opinion.
I think it'd be a huge change to the country. But honestly, even if they do, in a perfect scenario, the elections, Democratic elections it's over and it's Bernie. And
what elections?
What elections?
Sorry, I had to. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna get the soundbite for that, and then them two get it. And at the end of the day, you still need a Democratic House and Senate. That's the only way things are gonna get any type of.
If they're the ticket,
movement.
though, if they're the ticket and they win, then you're gonna get the Democratic House and ticket. Yeah. The reason why I say that is for them to win, the country's got to be leaning very fucking left. Yeah. Which means they're going to replace whoever they need to replace. Those same states that vote them in theory, will vote in the I mean, that's how Obama got it in 2008.
They're about to redistrict shit,
it was just such a big wave that it just knocked a bunch of senators off and knocked a bunch of House of Representatives off, and it ended up being all blue. That's how they got Obamacare passed. That's how they got a lot of, did a lot of shit. They arguably could have done more, but I digress on that. But yeah, man. So we're going to see this election cycle. It's been fucking crazy.
I'm excited to see it. This is gonna be my first time voting.
Hey, man!
Congratulations! I was telling him, I was like, man, I can't wait to vlog this, and then I found out I can't vlog when you're voting.
Nah,
I wanted to commemorate the moment.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work.
It's like my first time.
Outro. Yeah. So, yeah, I only 2008 I wasn't old enough. 2012, I actually got stuck in a hurricane over in New York. Yeah, Hurricane Sandy. I was out visiting my sister, and because she went to school in New York. She went to college there. And I'm actually glad I was out there because when the storm hit, it flooded the city, and she lost light, and she was on the 8th floor, and her dorm was actually in Manhattan, down in Tribeca, which is like near Wall Street and all that shit. And she lost it, like everything. So we had to move her out in the dark, going up and down 8 floors. And luckily I was there because she didn't have to do that shit by herself, but I helped her move out. And I didn't do absentee voting, so I missed that election. Obama won anyway, so it didn't really matter. And then in 2016, I had myself having to choose between the two devils, and I was with my sister, so I chose the blue devil. And I guess, didn't matter. I was in Texas. She lost anyway, so fuck it. But
it's the red or the blue pill.
Yeah, I took the blue pill this time. But we'll see, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Trump, and I just can't find myself to vote for him just because it's not even to say that I wouldn't ever vote Republican if I'm keeping it a buck, bro. Like, let's say Kasich would have won last year. It was Kasich versus Hillary. I would have voted for Kasich because I couldn't stand fucking Hillary. But between those two, it's like they made the vote kind of easy for me because I was like, there's no way I'm going to fucking vote for Trump.
It was more so going with the lesser evil at the time.
Yeah, I didn't even feel comfortable calling her the lesser evil. I just couldn't stand the idea of him being president. Like, it just wasn't a good representation of the country and, like, the world and where we are.
She's not a very likable person.
She's not, bro.
And it's a popularity contest at the end of the day. People have to like you, regardless of your, whatever you're selling. Yeah, people still have to like you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's done some things to kind of remind the world just how strong America is and how necessary America is for the rest of the world. But it's just like,
but do people not think America is strong? Like, let's be real.
Yeah, that's
people know
true.
We'll blow your shit off the map.
Yeah, I'm thinking more so just like, like as far as like the UN and like all these joint ventures that we have with all these other countries. Like, he's demanding that other people pick up their fair share, which I get from a monetary perspective, but from every other perspective, it doesn't make sense. So, and now it's coming back to bite us in the ass with the CDC and all the different groups that he's tried, he's defunded over time. Like, now these are the times when we need them and we don't have them. So we're going to see. Hopefully we don't all die.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully the coronavirus doesn't get us first.
Yeah.
But as a reminder, voting is when?
Super Tuesday is next Tuesday. I believe that would be the first is Sunday. So that would be the 3rd. Tuesday, March 3rd. It's Super Tuesday. That's where at least half the country, us, I believe California and a bunch of other states, have our votes then. And then I guess the rest of the primaries happen after that. I don't think everybody votes next Tuesday.
No, it's like select states.
It's 14 states, and I know we're one of them. So we're going to have to make sure we bounce from work for a little bit and go vote. And then, yeah.
Everybody out there, make sure you register and you vote. You don't, contrary to belief, man, your vote does count.
It does. I mean, you really don't have any idea because how many people are not voting, and if they just did the massive sway that you could get. So not only you vote, but get the people around you to vote. I mean, shit, people done fought and died for your right to vote. So
yeah,
do
especially
that shit.
If you black, man, it took 150 years.
Took 150.
We did the math earlier, all right?
Anyway, man, it's important, so let's do that shit, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, peace and love.
The Villages.